Hi class, this is Mrs. Gooch. So today in class we covered 4.1. The I can we covered was I can set up and solve percent proportions. So this screen we put into our notes and we added a little bit to it. So I'm going to add it here now and I'm going to reiterate what I said today. Is when we're doing this, and we're looking at these percent proportions, it's really important to pay attention to the words. But the shapes are also going to help us remember how things are set up. So when I set up a proportion, I always have the part goes in the triangle or in our numerator. Okay? Now, the whole amount of what we're talking about always goes in the bottom. In a lot of word problems, we're going to be looking for the word is, which indicates the part, and of, which indicates the whole. A lot of the time also they will give us some percentage, which means we're going to write the percent number over 100. Like we talked about in class today, percent means divide by 100. Alright, so let's talk about how this looks and practice a few. So if we look at our notes, we conquered today both of these problems, but let's set these up so you guys can remember. So I'm looking at this and I'm going to annotate. I know what number I'm going to identify is as my triangle. Percent is a number, of is that rectangle, and 20 is my other number. So now I'm going to make that diagram again. So triangle over rectangle equals the percent number over 100. Alright, so now I'm going to go through this and I'm going to talk about each one of these pieces. I don't know what the number is. Mathematicians really like to use X for any time we don't know what something is. So, X is next to the word is. So that means my X goes in my triangle shape. So I'm going to just write that in my triangle. Now the next words I have is 10%. Well, I see that it has the percent sign, so it's going to go down here next to my percent symbol. And then the last one is 20, and it's next to the word of, so I know that that needs to go in my rectangular shape. Now this is just like what we accomplished a couple of weeks ago with the cross product. So I'm going to cross product x times 100. That gives me 100x equals 20 times 10 gives me 200. Now because I know that the opposite of timesing is division, to get x alone I need to divide by 100. So I type this into my calculator. 200 divided by 100 gives me x equals 2. Alright, so in your notes you have how to do number 2 as well. We're going to skip that and go on to number 3. And we're going to annotate this one. Again, I'm going to go in and circle all of my numbers. This one says 3 is what percent of 600? My is my triangle word, and of is my rectangular word. So again, I'm going to draw that diagram because that diagram is going to help me remember to do all of my steps. So triangle over rectangle equals percent number over 100. So now I'm going to start, and I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to start reading, and I say 3 is next to the word is. Is my triangle word, so 3 goes in my triangle here. Now, what percent? Well, I don't know what that is, so that's my x. So that means my x is going to go next to the percent sign this time. Of is my rectangular identifying word. It's next to 600, so 600 needs to come down into my rectangle. Now I do the cross products. So I have 600 times x gives me 600x equals 3 times 100 gives me 300. I know the opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide by what is happening to my x. X is getting times by 600, so I'm going to divide by that. So I type 300 divided by 600, and I get out x equals 0.5. And because this is a percent, I have to label it with my percent sign. All right, one more type of problem. That means we're skipping number 4, and we're going on to number 5. All right, let's annotate this one. It says 8 is 80% of what number? Circling my numbers. Now I'm starting to see that every time I see what number, I'm going to put an X above it. Is my triangle word, and of is that rectangular word. Again, I'm drawing the diagram to help me be successful. Now, I'm going to slowly go through this. 8 is next to the word is, so 8 must go in my triangle. 80% has the percent sign, so I'm going to put 80 over here. And the of is as close to a number as it's going to get, so that means my x is going to go as the denominator this time. As you probably figured out, we're going to cross multiply again. So 80 times x, gives me 80x equals 8 times 100, and that is 800. I know the opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide by 80 on both sides. I type this into my calculator, and it comes out with a lovely number 10. Now, for your homework, you need to be able to do this for problems 4 through 16, evens only, on page 162, 163. They're actually all on page 162. Solve all of the even problems. So that's 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. Thank you for listening, class. Have a great night.